So the title kind of says this is not truly a wood turning video, but there will be some turning in it, and it involves scrapers, also like the title says. This is about scrapers. I've been asked a number of times what the difference is and why are you using a negative Rick scraper. Well, a negative Rick scraper is probably the easiest one for people to use to clean turning up, because it's less likely to grab like a normal scraper will if you don't have it in the right spot. And a normal scraper is pretty much what a carbide insert is, and I do have a video showing how I avoid catches using those carbide cutters or a normal scraper. So this is a ground as a normal scraper. This is something I used at work for years, turning patterns up to 8 foot in diameter. And I still have yellow paint on it. That's how we identified what type of metal the pattern was used for. So it's ground on one side, that's a diamond point. I had a lot of different shapes that I used. And that's just your normal one, and that's a negative rake. So the company Find Buy Tools have sent me 3 scrapers to try out, and they are just normal scrapers. So I've got a piece of wood I've kind of roughed out. We're going to do some cuts on it. I can show you that this tool will actually take a lot of material off, whereas a negative rake won't take as much off, but again, it's more prone to get catches. If you're new, you might not want to use these, but I'm going to show you they really do work. So this is 1.5 inches wide. It's 3/8 inch thick, I think is what it is. And it doesn't have a hollow grind on it. It's been ground on more maybe a belt, but it doesn't have a burr. So I'm going to touch this up on my CBN wheel. It's going to give it a slight hollow grind, and it'll cut a lot better if it has a burr on it. They also sent me a bowl scraper, which I've kind of always wanted to either make one or get one, and it's just radiused on one side here. Again, this needs to get a burr on it, so I'll sharpen that. This is a 1/2 inch by 3/16. It's just a round nose. I don't know if I said, but that's also 1.5 inches and 3/8 thick. I'm going to go ahead and get that blank set up in the chuck, and we'll do some cuts, and you can see how it actually works. I'll be right back. So this is the little blank. It was a piece of, I think it's English walnut. Had it under my shed. I noticed that it had some cracks in there. I decided to grab this and just kind of rough it out and then use that to test these tools with. So I got a nice burr on here now. It should cut real well. We're doing a little over 900 RPM. I'm right on center, right here. So I'm going to pull that back just a little bit, and we're going to take some cuts and see what we can do with it. So people will tell you it just makes chips, but that looks to me like more than a chip. It will make nice cuts like that. And look how smooth that is. See, that's the other thing. It can cut and leave it very smooth. Let's do a couple more. Let's go over this. Again, look at that. So, don't believe everything you hear. They don't necessarily leave nothing but chips. That is really smooth. You could actually not even have to sand that. It's that smooth. So you ask me, well, why don't I use these all the time? I don't know. Maybe I should use it more. But I just love using a bowl gouge. Now, if I go over here lightly with this, not bad. Would have went better if I went uphill, but Alright, I think that does a good job. I really like this tool. It's nice and stout, and like I say, the handle's longer than normal. So I'm pretty impressed with that. And again, you got to watch when that burr disappears. You're not going to make cuts like that. I'm going to turn it around now. We're going to try that bowl scraper and see how that works out. So I've got it turned around, and I was just going to remove this where I had my tenon, but I'm going to let you see how it cuts in there with this tool. Not too bad. I didn't even get a new burr on it yet. I'm just going to take my diamond stone and just nice wide edge here so it stays on there pretty good. If I go over that, I now have a burr on it. Let's see if it cuts any better. So it does cut better. I hauled this out a little bit with a bowl gouge, and I purposely left it a little on the rough side just so we can test this bowl scraper out. Okay, I really like that. That has done a fine job. You saw the ribbons coming off. That's not like making little chips come off like people think that the carbides do. And you can make the carbides cut smooth like this as well. So I'm pretty impressed with that. I want to take another cut. It was so much fun. If that was the bottom, if you have trouble on the bottom of the bowl getting that center, this thing just did a fine job of it. I think it's a great tool. Okay. I think I can't do much more. I'm not going to use the little one because there's no place to use it on here, but I am sure that's going to do a good job in something a little more delicate. So I'm pretty impressed. Let me clean this up and we'll look at these tools one more time. Okay, well, I think you could see that the thing actually does cut nicely, and it really left a decent finish. I haven't touched it with sandpaper at all, but it wouldn't take much at all to clean it up. So here's the tools again. I didn't tell you what the steel was, but it's M2 Cryo high-speed steel, and it's made by Fine Buy Tool. I've worked with these people a few times. They are just an excellent company. I am totally impressed with them. If you email them anything, you get response immediately. So I'm pretty happy with that. Of course, not on the weekends, but everybody wants their weekend. Same thing with this. This is the M2 Cryo high-speed steel. And so is the little guy. And I think that's going to be a handy tool to have right here as well. Oh yeah, I'm totally impressed with them. I'd say go have a look at them and see for yourself. And again, this coming Friday, I've got something pretty cool. It's ready to go. I hope you like that one, and I hope you learned something about these scrapers. And I sure appreciate you watching. I'll put a link in the description for these tools. And this is a good size pattern I turned with one of my scrapers I made from stellite.